grihastha. When she graduates from the Pathshala, the Shilpi will not be a sannyasin. She would become a karma yogi, a sevak, seeking nirvana through an engagement with the material and social reality of her life. She cannot escape the predicament of dharma, of right and responsible action in the conduct of our profession. For this is the vehicle of our salvation and the justification of our selfhood. The Pathshala, therefore, has a twin role of equipping the Shilpi and the skills and with the skills and knowledge particular to her craft, and of preparing her with the faculty of discretion in the exercise of her skills and the conduct of her profession. That's one kind of an image of the Pathshala. Or is the Pathshala an inspirational ashram for the devoted seeker, whose bhakti is the practice of her kala? Is this rupa that in this rupa, she would remain true to her creative impulse, and the results of her creative imagination would be her offering to the world. Her Pathshala would be a place for inner search and of esoteric practice, a world within a world with its visionary principles and values. She will emerge from this Pathshala a free soul who would seek out and raise a circle of patrons and rasiks amongst whom she could thrive, leaving a distinctive mark on all that she touches. This is the, what's the name of that American idol in the book? What's the name? What's the name? Howard Rock, yeah. It's that sort of, that kind of person. Of course here it's more spiritualized and whatnot. The purpose of a Shilpa Kala is to infuse the mundane with a transcendent spirit, even as she rides her chariot on the mundane paths of her patrons and is dependent on their material means and goodwill. Can the two Shilpis, the Grihasthi Sevak and the Rasabhakta, be united? Can the two Pathshalas be fused into a cohesive Vidyalaya? The Eastern savant would reconcile this duality like yin and yang, whose polarities and complementarity constitute the reality of existence. And I am drawn to this possibility. To return where we started from, first we encounter the architecture of the object. Now in this, I imagine the Shilpi in a Rasabhakta roop, working one-to-one with the object of her creation, occupying the parenthetic space, giving generously of her spirited imagination, deploying her skill in the language of form, its aesthetic experience, combined with its symbolic evocation, marshalling the necessary resources to transform the mundane order of reality into a new becoming with the sheer presence of her creations. The object of her making is the gift of her imagination that enlivens the world. When we encounter the object of architecture, I imagine something else. Here, I imagine the Shilpi in a Grihasthi Seva roop. She serves the needs of those who call upon her services and talent with compassion and with care. She deploys the knowledge of her craft with her kala to best utilize the material means at her disposal. She is respectful of her social contracts and mindful of the implications of her actions. Her métier is a strategic activity in a wider project of enhancing well-being, reducing stress, conserving the earth's resources, and protecting it from being defiled. Through the processes of making, and in the very making of her objects, she contrives to transform the social and material reality around her into a better world of lasting beauty and of grace. Now, I imagine that the two rupas of the Shilpi are juxtaposed and circumscribed into the circle of unity in the manner of yin and yang. I see the two as conjoined along the osmotic membrane that enables each root to draw inspiration and nourishment from the other, So this conjoining of the two rupas along that line, which is the S shape between yin and yang, is like that. That's an osmotic line. So you cannot, because you're attached to the other being, and that other being is always infusing something to its neighbor and vice versa. They cannot exist without one another. The essential natures of the two rupas are centered at their respective bindus, and at their peripheries, the outer circle and the inner line of juxtaposition are their indispensable disciplines. The outer circle is a discipline of praxis that gives and takes from the world in which the Shilpi is host, the world which is the Shilpi's host and her raison d'etre. It is through this discipline that she constructs her role and purpose in society. The line of juxtaposition between the two rupas is the discipline of making. The natures and intentions of the two rupas converge into the act of making, in translating intentions into physical artifacts, into material existence that can be tested and verified. The masterly and wise employment of material means is integral to her craft. And what of the Vidyalaya? If I persist with the analogy, the Vidyalaya is the surrogate disciplining framework. It's like a construct, which is like the disciplining framework. It provides both the outer circle as well as the inner line of juxtaposition, in which the Shilpi develops and matures. The completeness and wholeness of her development, which makes her effective in her métier, is shaped by her learning to express her twin natures through the craft of making. Without this capability, she is no more than a conjurer building fictitious castles in the air. The Vidyalaya brings to her the discipline of this craft. Further, the processes and ways of her practice in which she is an active and responsible agent, whether they be social or technological, are contributors to the future of society. As an active agent of these processes, she makes possible the future of grace and beauty. It is when she gathers this knowledge that her imagination can truly enliven the world. Without this awareness and knowledge, she is no more than an indulgent entertainer, oblivious of the consequences of her actions. This is where her dharma is tested. The Vidyalaya provides the surrogate circle of praxis to prepare her for the test. Thank you. That's it. So I just began to see the possibility of this kind of diagram as a kind of summarizing structure of what the process of architectural learning through institutions can